Coming up on the Rockbridge Report. New details on the lockdown at Washington Lee University yesterday, where students and teachers were ordered to shelter in place for over 3 hours.
And a mile north, administrators at Rockbridge County High School revealed there was a second simultaneous threat at their school last month. The future of rental assistance in Rockbridge County is uncertain as the county hands over its rental assistance program to the state.
Lexington's Jordan's Point is set to get an upgrade, but construction plans appear to be far from reality. And you can put away that winter coat for now. Arcade and Buzz brings you his 5-day weather forecast, which includes warming temperature for the area. All that and more next on the Rockbridge Report.
Live from the campus of Washington and Lee University with news for Rockbridge County, this is the Rockbridge Report.
Welcome to the Rockbridge Report. I'm Jasmine Zhang.
And I'm Liz Trubeck. Students, faculty, staff, and people in Lexington are still talking about yesterday's lockdown at Washington and Lee University. The university went on lockdown Wednesday afternoon for close to 4 hours after a campus-wide alert ordered students and faculty to shelter in place. For those in classrooms, that meant locking doors and barricading themselves inside. Everyone caught up in the lockdown took to social media, texts, and university emails to learn what they could about the situation. Many of those conversations were focused on reported popping sounds at Davidson Park, east of the main campus. Eventually, university officials say police found no active security threat after searching campus. The campus went on lockdown after the university received an anonymous threatening email. Our Emma Malinak was on campus during the shelter in place. I spoke with her this afternoon and asked her how this all went down.
Yeah, absolutely. So students, faculty, and staff received an alert through the university's emergency management system. They received that alert around 3:45, and they were told that there was a possible threat to campus, so everyone was instructed to shelter in place. At the time, there were really no other details about the threat, and we still don't know much about the threat other than that it was anonymous and over email.
And how did the students feel?
Yeah, I think most of our students here were pretty nervous because they didn't have much information about what kind of threat it was. And they also didn't have much information about what police officers were looking for as they were searching campus. And I think that anxiety grew as police officers started to walk through some of those buildings. Seeing SWAT teams with big guns is always something scary for students. And I think some of the anxiety also grew because there was an incident at Davidson Park, and at the time we didn't know how it was related to the incident at the university.
And do we know anything more now about that incident at Davidson Park?
Yes, so there were popping noises that were originally reported as possible gunfire. We now know that those were fireworks, and that came from a university statement. We know that they were just fireworks.
And what is the university's official response to this situation?
Right. At the moment, they've issued an official statement that describes everything I've told you today, but otherwise the university is not speaking anymore on the matter.
Thank you, Emma. For more on the lockdown story, visit our website at rockbridgereport.wlu.edu.
The Rockbridge Report has uncovered information about a second simultaneous threat at Rockbridge High School on October 10th. And more voices, including a student and a parent, are painting a picture of a situation much more chaotic than school officials originally reviewed in the days after the bomb threat. Luke Fountain continues our reporting on this evolving story.
We had two threats. We had a gun threat and a bomb threat.
Some students described how chaos ensued after those threats were called in.
I was in the cafeteria when it happened. And there was since we don't have an intercom system, we the teachers were scrambling to find a microphone to notify everyone. And so teachers just started screaming, go back to your fourth period classroom. An administrator ran by us and was code red, run.
School officials say their response was calm and organized.
As far as I know, everybody went into lockdown the way they were supposed to.
They did an excellent job. It was amazing how calm they were.
Students say differently. Some thought it was a drill, others thought there was an active shooter, and others were told it was a bomb threat. The school was planning to do a code red drill the following week.
I have a daughter there She said that it was chaos. Her teacher got some kind of a notification, said to everyone, okay, we've got to leave your stuff here. So yeah, there was a lot of confusion. It seemed that none of the teachers really understood what exactly was happening.
At first, students barricaded themselves inside their classrooms. They feared an active shooter.
We got back to our fourth period class, and like by the time we got there, it was like a lockdown drill, and so we were like barricading the door with desks and stuff.
Some students say not having a working PA system made figuring out what was going on even harder. The Virginia Department of Education recommends schools have a PA system for security.
Teachers were figuring out this information like through like a group chat on their phones, and like when you're teaching, you're not checking your text messages.
School officials disagree. They say the broken PA system did not slow their response.
In the cafeteria, the PA system would have nothing to do with it.
Still, some students were afraid to return the next day and said that teachers avoided talking about the hoax.
I didn't go back to school the next day because I was scared. I was like, the teachers didn't really address it. The school didn't address it the next day and never really did.
Law enforcement officials continue to investigate who made the fake threats. At this time, no oversight investigations into the high school's response have been announced. Moving forward, school officials say they'll be better prepared in case of another threat. They plan to install a new PA system by the end of the month. Live from Rockbridge County High School, I'm Luke Fountain with the Rockbridge Report.
Donald Trump Jr. testified at the New York Supreme Court today in his father's civil fraud trial. He said that the large gambling company, Bally's, paid Donald Trump's company, Trump Golf Links at Ferry Point, $60 million to buy the right to operate the public golf course in New York City. The terms of the lease transfer hadn't been disclosed when the deal became public earlier this year, but the price emerged as Donald Trump Jr. was questioned on the witness stand. The lease sale came after the city strove to strip the former president's association with the course after the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol.
The conflict between Israel and Hamas has continued to spark a rise in anti-Semitism across the U.S. Cornell University will cancel its classes Friday after a student threatened to kill members of the school's Jewish community. CNN's John Lawrence has more.
Cornell University cancels its classes for Friday following the arrest of 21-year-old junior Patrick Day. He's accused of allegedly posting online messages that included calling for the death of Jewish people and threatening to shoot up a kosher dining hall on campus.
I mean, I've seen general anti-Semitic sentiment and things like that, but to have not only a direct threat, but a direct threat to a building that I personally go to and eat at and see friends at, like, that was really scary.
The Anti-Defamation League says anti-Semitic threats increased close to 400% shortly after October 7th, when a Hamas attack on Israel resulted in 1,400 deaths, most of whom were civilians.
We are focusing our efforts on confronting and disrupting illegal threats wherever they arise.
While the Carter Center issued a statement calling for a ceasefire in Gaza, including a 2002 line from the namesake former president that said, quote, "We will not learn to live together in peace by killing each other's children." The Biden White House is drawing some pushback for its support of Israel as the death toll in Gaza has passed 8,700, according to the Palestinian Ministry of Health.
Our message is very clear. No ceasefire, no vote in 2024.
Mr. Biden has pursued a policy of death.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Day appeared in federal court yesterday and was ordered to remain behind bars for the time being.
Virginia Attorney General Jason Miyares is opening an investigation into a Muslim charity, alleging that the group is pro-terrorist and operating illegally. WTVR's Bree Season has the story.
In 2 weeks, 23 sheriffs and localities donated 800 vests, 50 helmets, and 75 protective plates to be used by Israeli citizens and first responders. The local Jewish community helped load a truck bound for New York and then a plane onto Jerusalem.
We're a big-hearted country. At our core, Americans are good and decent and noble people.
Attorney General Jason Miyares spoke at length about his trips to Israel and his respect for its people. On Tuesday, his office opened an investigation into the fundraising practices of a pro-Palestinian charity, saying it may have accepted donations before registering with the state, and he's concerned the funds might be used to support terrorism. We asked Miyares to respond to allegations that investigation is politically motivated.
My job is, when information is brought to me, to make sure that all of our charities in Virginia are acting in a proper manner, that they are practicing both their fiduciary duties, but they're also not violating the law. That's my duty. That's the oath of office that I took, regardless. And that's not the only charity that I've obviously looked at.
The AMP issued a statement Tuesday calling the Attorney General's announcement a smear.
Coming up next, renovations on Jordan's Point are finally underway, but the finished product might not be what local residents initially pictured.
Weather might be cold recently, but it's starting to warm up. It might be November, but it feels like September. Stay tuned for my 5-day forecast. Up next.
Welcome back to the Rockbridge Report. Renovations underway at Jordan's Point will not include many of the proposals from Lexington's original plans. Lexington approved about $350,000 for park renovations, but the initial plan called for nearly $3 million in improvements, while another estimate even doubles that figure. Jenny Hellwig reports.
The city worked with the design firm to develop a Jordan's Point master plan in 2020. Construction is now underway 3 years later. The initial plan called for improvements such as a promenade and a walking trail along the river. These features, among others, are not part of the current plan. Public Works Director Patrick Madigan says that the master plan proposals came with a high price tag of between $6 to $8 million. City Council member Nicholas Betts says that updates to the park must be balanced with other city projects.
So there's competing interests for taxpayer dollars in the city.
Some of the renovations in progress include an ADA accessible trail, maintenance of a historic wall, and upgrades to the bathrooms. The city also put picnic tables in the pavilion shelters. Madigan says the improved shelters have been popular.
For the pavilions we have here are booked. It's hard to for folks to reserve them because they're usually taken up.
Madigan says that it has been great to see a revitalization of the park.
I think everyone senses that it's kind of one of the jewels of Lexington for sure.
Construction planned for the spring at Jordan's Point will prioritize easier pedestrian access to the Maury River. The city plans to move the road farther away from the waterfront and build concrete steps to the riverbank. City Manager Jim Hallis says that he doesn't think this will be the end of improvements at Jordan's Point.
If you were doing it right, we're always going to be improving and investing there.
Construction at the park will come to a stop as temperatures get colder and will start up again in the spring. Reporting from Lexington, this is Jenny Hellwig for the Rockbridge Report.
Local Virginia elections are less than a week away, but most Rockbridge County candidates are running unopposed. Tyson Cooper, the sole candidate for Buena Vista mayor, says he anticipates a lower voter turnout due to the lack of a national race. For more, check out Fraley Williams' story on our website.
Eligible taxpayers in Virginia can look forward to a check from the state in the coming days. Eligible taxpayers will receive one-time tax rebate for up to $200 if they file individually and up to $400 if they file jointly. The Commonwealth says it will issue most rebate by November 7th. Rockbridge County is handling its rental assistance program over to the state's housing agency. The county's housing supervisor, Bruce Ziegler, says the decision is the best way to cut ties with the housing voucher program that has been underfunded for a decade and has stopped meeting local needs. Ziegler says current voucher holders will not be affected, but new applicants may face delays. For more, read Emma Melinek's story on our website.
Still to come on the Rockbridge Report, local high school students are scoring jobs thanks to Rockbridge County's Career and Technical Education program. We'll show you the kind of work they're doing in the area.
And Caden Buss has his 5-day weather forecast coming up after the break.
Welcome back to the Rockbridge Report. A nationwide labor shortage has made it hard for some local businesses to find staff. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce reports Virginia has 47 available workers for every 100 open jobs. As Jack Krause reports, teenagers are filling empty jobs across the county.
Cheyenne Clark's day differs from most high school students. Before the last bell rings, she is out the school doors and headed to work as a cook. Clark is a member of Rockbridge County's Career and Technical Education, or CTE, program.
Basically, I am part of an internship where I can leave school early and I can go and start working in the field that I kind of want to work in.
Work-based learning coordinator for the CTE program, Robin Sherman, said about 400 students at the high school take classes through the program in everything from culinary work to cybersecurity. About 70 of them intern in various jobs.
Each student that finishes our culinary program is ServSafe certified. So that employer knows that they come to the business having knowledge about food preparation, safe handling, safety, sanitation.
The labor shortage has caused some to close their doors.
There is a definite labor shortage in the area, and I think nationwide. And we made the decision that, we've been here for 25 years. It was probably time for us to move on.
Pure Eats owner Casey Potter said the CTE program helped her overcome that problem.
So she sent me Cheyenne, and then 3 others I think now have come over and worked for me, and they've all just been amazing. This business is like feast or famine. So you either have all the people in the world or you have like none.
Construction of an innovation center for career and technical education students is underway. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Jack Krause.
Thanks, Jack. The CTE program will have a career fair at Rockbridge County High School on the morning of November 16th, where businesses can recruit future employees. It's been a chilly few days here in Lexington.
Yeah, the week started off pretty warm, but then all of a sudden I find myself reaching for a winter jacket.
Caden, I bet you have some pretty funny jackets in your closet.
Yeah, I do. I had to wear one this morning, but I won't need them over the weekend. Here's our live shot over by Rockbridge County High School. Now, let's look at some current conditions. Today, we have a high of 50 and a low of 22, so it's rather chilly, with a barometric pressure of 30 and 45 inches of mercury. Wind speed is rather calm at 5 miles per hour, and it's ultra dry with a humidity of 28%. Now let's look at the radar. No clouds or rain in sight. Now to some current conditions in the area around. Lexington has a high of 50 and it's sunny. Stanton's 47, Charlottesville is 53, Buena Vista is 49, and Lynchburg is 51, all sunny. Now, let's look at Covington, which is a little chillier with a high of 41, but is also sunny, and Roanoke has some clouds with a high of 52. Now to our 5-day forecast. Tomorrow is a high of 59 with a low of 32 and sunny. Saturday has a high of 63 and is sunny. Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday are all looking like picture-perfect days with highs of 68, 67, and 68, all sunny. So we have some great weather looking forward to this weekend and next week. Back to you, Liz and Jasmine.
Thank you, Caden.
And coming up in sports, with fall athletic wrapping up, parents get emotional seeing their senior athletes compete for the final game.
It's been amazing. It's just been so fun to see her shine and to be at such a great school.
Welcome back to the Rockbridge Report. I heard that there are a lot of teams competing for an ODAC championship this week.
Yeah, I was only able to make it to the field hockey game, but Bella, could you fill us in on what we missed?
Sure, Liz. But first, a little about WNL volleyball. It was senior day last weekend for WNL women's volleyball. The team split a doubleheader with a victory over Shenandoah and a loss to Eastern University. The team honored its one senior, Sydney Heifer, after the game. Mackenzie Kane spoke with her and her family.
Good evening, Rockbridge. I'm here at Washington and Lee's Holcamp Gym, where the Generals volleyball team is celebrating their senior night during the last home game of the regular season. Joining me here on court is the Hefner family. Now, Sydney, you are the sole senior on this team, and tonight your family, teammates, and friends all came out to celebrate what was a historic career for you in this program. What did tonight mean to you?
It was really special. It was so nice to have my family and my friends and the whole team here supporting me. It was a really great evening.
Now, Mr. and Mrs. Hefner, what has it been like watching your daughter these past 4 years on the court?
It's been amazing. It's just been so fun to see her shine and to be at such a great school. I'm sorry. I'm a little sad that it's her hopefully not her last home game, but it's just been great to be able to be here and see all of her achievements.
I can't add much to that. Just real proud. Real proud.
Well, I wish you best of luck in the postseason, and I wish you two safe travels on your way home. And signing off with the Rockbridge Report, I'm Mackenzie Kane.
Hefner and the Generals won their last game of the season Tuesday against Roanoke College. They begin ODAC tournament play on November 7th. Many Washington and Lee teams are contending for an ODAC championship and a bid to the NCAA tournament. Men's soccer will host Shenandoah tonight at 6 in the ODAC semifinal. The Generals had an exciting late game comeback in their last match against the Hornets, with 2 goals in the final 65 seconds. Tonight's match was originally scheduled for last night, but was postponed due to an anonymous threat on the W&L campus yesterday. W&L women's soccer is also making a championship push. They will play Lynchburg tomorrow at 3:30. A win would mean a trip to the ODAC championship on Sunday. And women's field hockey is 2 wins away from a championship. The Generals are fresh off a decisive 3-0 victory over Roanoke College on Tuesday, and they look to keep things rolling with a win over Shenandoah tomorrow in Winchester. The VMI football team came up just shy of a victory last weekend. They fell to Chattanooga by a score of 24-23 due to a missed extra point in the fourth quarter. And the Cadets men's soccer team ended their regular season with a loss to University of North Carolina Greensboro. VMI will play Furman tomorrow in the 2023 Southern Conference Tournament. The Rockbridge County High School women's volleyball team won its 19th straight match Tuesday against East Rockingham. The team is now 2 wins away from a state tournament bid. They will host Spotswood in the region semifinals tonight at 7. The Wildcats football team did not have the same fortune last weekend, falling 0-9 on the season with a 55-point loss to Turner Ashby. They have one more chance to get a win on Friday in their final game at William Monroe. Perry McClure also lost 55-0 in its football game against Bath County last weekend. They will finish out the season on the road tomorrow against Eastern Montgomery. But the Fighting Blues boys cross country team took home the Region C championship on Tuesday. They will now compete for a state championship. Legendary college basketball coach Bobby Knight died yesterday at the age of 83. In an online statement, Knight's family said he died at home surrounded by loved ones. The fiery coaching giant won 3 NCAA titles at Indiana and led the U.S. Olympic team to a gold medal in 1984. The Texas Rangers won its first World Series title in franchise history after beating the Arizona Diamondbacks 5-0 in Game 5. The victory ends a 51-year title drought since the Rangers joined the MLB in 1972. That's all for sports. Back to you, Jasmine.
Thanks, Bella. That's all for the Rockbridge Report. Thanks for watching.
Join us for our special election night coverage beginning 7 p.m. Tuesday here on Xfinity Channel 18. And you can catch more local coverage anytime on rockbridgereport.wlu.edu.